Hello everybody, David Abram, welcome back to my channel, and today's topic is going to be a topic off the top of my head as usual, and it's going to be about the possibility of men going back to the plantation hypothetically. Now, let's say hypothetically, all the divorce laws, all the biased court systems, all the legislation, all of the corrupt rulings, and all this was done away with. So no more no-fault divorce, no more alimony, no more child support, no more rape culture, no more this, that, and the other. All of the latter was just completely abolished, like on a nationwide scale, just done away with. The question I ask all my fellow MGTOWs is, would you return to the plantation? Now, the reason I ask this is because it's my understanding that perhaps maybe some MGTOWs deep down inside, before they took the red pill and before they went MGTOW, wanted a wife, wanted marriage, and wanted children, and wanted to, raise a family. But when they took the red pill and went MGTOW, they realized, everything was stacked against their favor and everything was stacked against them as men. And my personal thoughts as a MGTOW is that if everything was to be fixed, so let's just say the MRAs got their stuff done and got everything wired, so everything was done away, as I've mentioned with above. To tell you the truth, and I know I'm really young right now, and I could change over time, because anything is possible, or anything can happen, but I don't think I would go back to the plantation. And the reason I say that is because if you've ever looked at world history or human history, one thing you'll notice with government is that it's always subjected to change. So 200 years ago, there was a different government. 100 years ago, there was a different government. Heck, even 15 years ago, the government was different. So what you learn from history, I think, in a nutshell, is that government will change, and it's subject to change at any given time. So, in some essence, one of the reasons I wouldn't go back to the plantation is, since the state is always subject to change, what's to stop them from reversing all the fixed laws, reforcing all the divorce rulings, reversing all of the corrupt, biased gender court systems rulings? What's to stop them from reversing and going back to the feminist regime and tyrannical and totalitarianistic social engineering that they have now? And the truth is, nothing is to stop them. I mean, even if the government was to actually fix all the corruption within the family court and all the corruption within feminism, or do away with feminism, better yet, the problem is, or the problem that men face, is that at any given time in history, they could always revert back to the way they were. So that's my first reason as to why I don't think I would go back to the plantation. Number two, we know the state changes, but male nature and female nature, as far as I know and as far as I've observed, and many other men observed, does not change. So, even 50 years ago, women were hypergamous in some sense. Even 50 years ago, women had some parasitic qualities to them, even in those days. But the difference was, it was all kept in check, because the state didn't have alimony, they didn't have a rigged court system, and they didn't have third-wave feminism. It just wasn't there yet, and Western society as a whole wasn't as misandric as it is today. At least, I don't reckon it was. But really, that's my second reason. Female nature is what it is, and it has been what it's always been. So, these are really my two reasons as to why I wouldn't go back to the plantation, even if everything was ultimately reversed. But I don't know. what do other MGTOWs think? I do know that there has to be at least some MGTOWs who went MGTOW because they realized the odds were stacked against them, even if they wanted that. Ex-Politic even did a podcast with MGTOW. He considered him MGTOW. I forget the fella's name, but he still wanted children, but he knew he couldn't go the traditional route because of the rigged system that's in his favor, that's not in his favor. So he was thinking about other alternatives like surrogacy and, a written contract for this surrogacy or something along those lines. But nonetheless, he knew as a MGTOW, or if not a MGTOW, as a red pillar, that if he wanted that, he'd have to go an alternative route. Because as of right now, everything is stacked against men. Everything is stacked against men in the court systems, everything is stacked against men in marriage, and everything is stacked against men when it comes to the regular, everyday gender relations, because that's how embedded our culture is when it comes to misandry. Misandry is pretty much all around us at this point. Even if there's a misandry that we don't actually notice. But, anywho, those are the two reasons I wouldn't go back to the plantation, or at least I don't believe I would go back to the plantation. But if you MGTOWs, or any MGTOWs watching this, or any red pillars watching this for that matter, have any thoughts about this or different standpoints, or if you agree, please do feel free to leave all your thoughts in the comment sections below. As I've said before, I like to get conversations going, and I do respond to these conversations because I do enjoy them. And without further ado, that's all I've got to say for now. Until the next time, thanks for watching. Cheers.